Hey everyone, welcome back. I hope you are doing well. It is always great to see you. Today I'm going to show you how to make your own fake blood. I'm going to cover stage blood, gel blood, and scab blood. But one thing you need to remember the most when you're doing this is what you need it for. That is going to dictate the color and the viscosity that you need. So if you will, join me in my kitchen and let's get to it. Well, hey, you made it. So welcome to my messy kitchen and my messy bun. And we are going to make some fake blood today. And one thing, and first and foremost, that you have to remember when dealing with paints, dyes, or anything of the sort is that you want to make sure that you are wearing some clothing that you don't mind getting dirty. Hey, perhaps an old shirt from an ex. Why not kill two birds with one stone? So today I'm getting help from the Belchers. Bob and his lovely family are going to be protecting me today. And some of the things I'm going to use, and we're going to start off with edible blood. That is the one that you can put on cakes, cupcakes, and you can still use this blood for special effects and makeup. It does smell a little bit more chocolatey once we get into the recipes, and I will be switching back and forth from this angle to hands and working on this platform only angle. So let's go ahead and let's get started. Today I'm using I found this randomly at the store. It's the cheapest one, although you see that it's not completely clear. That's okay because you don't have to add any yellow tinge to it. It just depends on what you want to do. And the one thing that you have to remember about fake blood is as long as it looks good and it's for what you need, that is perfect. We are here to have fun. We are here to save some money. And this is going to be a thicker blood. It is still a stage blood, not like a gel. But what I'm going to do is get just a little in to my cup, and you can see it doesn't really have a color to it that much when you pour it. And I am going to be using, you can find these at the grocery store. They're getting a little bit harder to find, but I'm going to use what I have. These are very affordable, but they're very small. And if you're going to make a good amount, you can get this from Amazon. I think this is about $11. And this packet was about $24, but it has several different kinds, even pastels in it. So I thought it was something I can use for blood, different types of blood. A little bit later on, different types of zombie blood and character-driven blood that you may need something that's just not red all the time. So I'm going to add, and I have no specific recipe for this. I just go with what I feel is appropriate. The thing about blood, when it comes to fake blood, is your color and viscosity. Now you have old blood, dry blood, new blood, and arterial blood. Arterial blood seems to be a little bit darker. It's the blood you want dark but thinner so you can get it through a rig or a squib if you're using it for cinematic purposes and special effects makeup. And I'm going to add slowly. When I add anything to my red, I go as small as possible so I can adjust, because some greens and blues will overpower the red and make it real dark and murky. But for right now, I'm going with red and blue with just cornstarch only. And as you can see, this made it really dark really quickly. And one thing to test a product is I like to see how dark. And that would be good for cakes. It runs pretty good. It smells good. And if you want it even darker, I go with a little bit of cocoa powder. You see we got a little bit darker. And this is a good edible blood recipe that will drip, and it will drip for a while because the viscosity is high. And if you want to make it thicker, going in with some cornstarch. If you want to control this blood a little bit more, you continue to add cornstarch until you get the thickness of this blood that you want. You see it's gotten a little bit thicker and the color has not changed. And that is a good start for an edible blood. Moving on to the blood that I use and make most often for my special effects makeup, I am going to use nothing but red. I'm going to start with a bit of yellow. You can see how bright this is. I then go in and add cocoa powder. This goes a long way. And I test the color on something white. So that's a little bit brighter than what I want it to be. I'll add more cocoa powder. Okay, we're getting a darker color, and that is a good place to be. And this blood, stage blood, will be the best for the wounds from the face, the fresh cuts, the cuts that are not any deeper than tissue. When you get into cutting into arteries and muscle, you want that blood to be darker and a little bit thicker because of the oxygen and the exposure that the blood will get once it hits the air, and the fact that it's running through the body, and especially like the jugular vein, that blood is arterial and it will be a little bit darker because of the blood that it's the biggest, one of the biggest veins that transports the blood throughout the body. So that's one of the reasons why that blood tends to be a little bit darker when you go into the blood that can still flow from the body from an injury. And I have started this, but the one thing about this is if you want it to run, you're going to have to add some more water. Let's make this one run with a little bit more water. And the thing about the water is once you apply water into this mix, sometimes it will show up on the skin and it will not look solid. This one looks pretty solid. And one thing that will help your blood also from cleaning it up is to add a little bit of dish detergent. This will make cleanup a little bit easier, but it does start to get a little funky at this point. So this is dependent on what you prefer, the smells, the actor or the person that you might be using this on. It just depends on what their comfort level is. Just a bit darker up on the skin. So these are your stage bloods that will run and drip and run for a longer period of time. But it will also dry quicker. But when you make your own blood, you can make a lot of it and you can you can control it the way you want a lot better. So those are the ways I start to make my own blood. Now I'm going to go into more of the gel type of blood. You're going to want this a bit thicker. So I'm going to add more cornstarch. Just a little bit more. Syrup. And I am using nothing but cornstarch for this today. More red. And since gel blood is a different kind, I want it to be a bit darker. One drop of blue. Test the color. I want it a bit darker, and I'll go back and forth with cocoa powder and blue until I get it as dark as I want it to be. So we're getting there with darker color, more red, cocoa powder, and blue. And this is a good dark red. I like my gel blood to be a lot darker. That way, if I want to add anything to make it clotted, I can do that. And this is gel blood. You can see it doesn't run as fast. You have some control. You're able to have more drops. Alright, so we got a mixture. We went from dark blood, medium blood to bright. So here we have bright, medium, and different changes in viscosity in the blood. And I am picking this darker blood that's more like gel. And I'm going to show you how I add texture and blood clots. You can use anything like glue, tissue paper. For the bigger clots, I use cotton. And you can see it's a big clotty mess. So I'm going to bring you in a bit closer and go over some of the things that I use to make blood look very old and clotted. So let's change the angle. You see here I have added some cotton to show you the actual clot of the blood. And with cotton, you can get some really thick clumps. It's good for effect. It will still run, but you get some nice dripping clots. Also, going in with some tissue paper, making sure that if you have a 2-ply, that you tear it apart. And I go through and I make sure that I don't have edges I'm going to be using. That edge will show up. This is a good way to get different kinds of clots. So now we have the smaller pieces in there, and you can make those look stringy as well. Show you real quick with this one how I make zombie blood. So with zombie, we all know that they're dead, and after that first initial bite that they do not bleed red. And the most powerful color that's used in zombie makeup is green. And I'm telling you, once you apply the green, it does get this dark black color. Just 2 drops of green. And it starts to become darker. So I'm going to continue to add green. So here we have zombie blood, dark, brownish. Here is the zombie blood on the hand. And that's a really pretty color. You get that little tinge, even if you wipe it away, that brownish, dead red. I do like zombie blood. So we have your zombie blood, we have your clotted, darker blood, we have aged blood, we have darker stage blood, several different types of stage blood according to how you thicken it, how much blue, and how much cocoa powder that you put into it. Now I have that pre-mixed before, that darker blood, and I'm going to make scab blood, and I'm going to put it in a container that I have saved from a makeup product. It is sanitized and clean and ready to go. I'm using this because I can put a topper on it and it will not get dry out as fast. And I'm going to be using Vaseline for this because I don't want to constantly mix flour over and over and over and over again. into this. But I want this to keep it in place because I want it to be able to go into deeper wounds and I don't want it to bleed on screen. The color into the Vaseline, and I'm just giving that a good mix. So we're going to add more red. And add the cornstarch to thicken it up. This is the dark zombie blood, and I'm going with some clots, and I'm going to store that so I don't have to make any more for the next time. So today we made blood, base blood, gel blood, stage blood, scab blood, and zombie blood. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. Remember, just to have fun. There's no wrong way to do it, just as long as it's comfortable to you and the person that you are using it on, and no one has any allergies. Just keep in mind what you're using it for. That will dictate the color and the viscosity. I know I said it a million times probably throughout this video, but thank you for joining me in my messy kitchen along with my messy bun. Until next time, keep it fake, but keep it real. See you later. Bye.